Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, December 20th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now, I know many of you have been anxiously awaiting our update. You want to know the full details of what's happening in Washington, D.C. and the U.S. Senate with H.R. 82, the Social Security Fairness Act. We have several other items to also report to you this week. There's been a lot going on. As a matter of fact, these past 2 weeks have been pretty much a blur, and quite honestly, it's difficult to even know what day it is at times with so many different things going on and all of the outpouring of questions and comments and support from all of you who are anxiously awaiting news on these different items. So let me do the best I can to kind of walk you through where we're at in Washington and then shift focus on to the COLA Commission and today's GIC meeting. Now, the reason why I say today, I'm actually filming this video on Thursday evening. It's about 8:45. I'm still in the office at 11 Beacon Street. The U.S. Senate just recessed for the day about a half hour ago. Now, let me take a little bit of a step back, and this video has shifted now a few different times, and I'm re-recording it based on new events. Now, yesterday, on Wednesday, the Senate held what is considered to be the key vote on this issue. As many of you know, in order for a Social Security bill to be acted on or voted on in the U.S. Senate, the first step of the process is something known as cloture. And that essentially moves the bill forward to the floor and allows it to be debated and voted on. In order to receive a cloture vote on a Social Security bill, it requires a minimum of 60 votes. So that's a very high threshold. That 60 of the 100 senators have to vote in the affirmative for the bill to move forward. And up until yesterday, we were not absolutely certain that we had 60 votes in the Senate. On paper, we had about 61 or 62 votes, but you can never be sure in these circumstances. Well, as luck would have it, we ended up with 73 votes. But for those of you who were watching the vote take place live, either through C-SPAN or online at the U.S. Senate website, I'm sure you can attest to this, that 25 or 30 minutes that the vote was taking place, it was the most stressful period of time, the most anxious I think I've ever been in my entire life, watching slowly one vote after the other come in. And we finally get to that 60 mark. It was like the weight of the world was suddenly lifted. However, that was just the start of the process, unfortunately. And I know for many of you who have been tuning in and watching these proceedings, they can be hard to watch. Not only can it be dry and boring, there's a lot of downtime, but as they always say, you don't want to see the sausage being made. And the U.S. Senate is a very unique sausage factory. Very unique set of rules, very unique set of customs. Many of the things that we have all been watching have been going on since the beginning. By design, the Senate was set up to work in a very slow and deliberative manner, which for us trying to get this done in the little bit of time we have left is extremely frustrating and just nerve-wracking. But we're getting there. Our hope had been that following yesterday's vote and the overwhelming support, we ended up having 13 votes more than what we needed, which was wonderful. We picked up a lot of Republican support, which was great, but we still have opponents. We had 27 Republican senators and one Democrat, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, who are adamantly opposed to H.R. 82 and full repeal of weapon GPO. And you may have watched several of them, including Senator Manchin and Senator Cruz last night, and Senator Lee this evening, take to the Senate floor with some very misleading and quite honestly insulting commentary about what this is really all about, and trying to insinuate somehow that public retirees did not pay into the system and earn the benefits that we're trying to restore. You know, all we're looking for is fairness here. You earned a benefit, you paid for a benefit, your spouse may have paid for a benefit that you are being wrongly denied. And the stories that we're hearing from all of you and that we've been hearing from you for years, because as I've said before, I have personally been working on this issue for nearly 30 years, which is a really long time. And honestly, I did not think that we would ever really get to this day, because there's been one roadblock, one insurmountable hurdle after the other. So the fact that we are at this point, that we had the tremendous vote last month in the House, and that yesterday's vote in the Senate was overwhelming, and that we're at this point now and so close to victory, it makes it that much more nerve-wracking because we know what's at stake. We know how far we have come. We know how difficult it will be if we're not successful in 2024 of getting back to this point in the future. So we've got to get it done now. Now, one of the reasons why things have been sort of turned into turmoil in Congress is this budget disagreement that's taking place. And while HR 82 and weapon GPO are not directly tied to that, really they have nothing to do with that in actuality, but the reality is that that is causing so much turmoil and chaos on Capitol Hill that it's affecting everything else. And we're hoping that we don't get caught up in that. Now, as of this evening, the House still has not reached an agreement. A bill that Speaker Johnson tried to bring to the floor failed. He couldn't even get enough Republicans to support that bill that the Republicans are trying to bring forward. So they're back to square one, trying to negotiate an agreement to keep the U.S. government open past Friday evening. Now, what this means to our issue is that it could extend the deadline. As of right now, Congress is set to adjourn tomorrow, or today, if you're watching this on Friday. December 20th has always been the targeted date for congressional adjournment. However, if there's not a budget bill in place, an agreement in place, they will stay in session through the weekend. So if necessary, that buys us a little bit of time. But to be completely honest, we are doing everything possible, not just here at Mass Retirees, but retirees across the country, all of the public sector unions, the other retiree associations. We're all working together, urging the U.S. Senate to move this forward. And there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes. We have been in regular contact with both Senator Markey's office and Senator Warren. Senator Markey in particular and his staff have been fantastic about getting us information about every step of this process. And I know our colleagues working in other states are doing exactly the same thing. There is work going on that you can't see on C-SPAN or on the U.S. Senate website because it's behind the scenes, and much of it's being done by the clerks and the staff. But I can assure you every effort is being made to get this done. We will continue to update you every step of the way. If you're watching this video online, either on Facebook or on YouTube, make sure you follow the Mass Retirees Facebook page. We will continue to update our Facebook page in real time as new information is available. We can't send out email blasts every single time a new piece of information comes up. It's just not possible for us logistically to be able to do that. So social media is the best form of instant communication. So follow our page. When you go to the Mass Retirees Facebook page, click the like button and the banner along with follow. That way you'll get notifications every time we update our page with new information, whether it's on weapon GPO or other issues directly related to public retirees. I promise you we're going to continue to do everything we can. We remain very optimistic, cautiously optimistic, I should say, because we're not done yet. There's a lot still going on. There are hurdles we need to overcome. But the good news is that the biggest hurdle of them all, of getting that cloture vote, getting over that 60 vote requirement, is done. Every step forward now, we only have to get a simple majority of 51 votes, which is a lot easier to secure than a 60 vote majority. So we're close. So speaking of other issues, there's a lot going on, as I said. Now, just today on Thursday, there were two major meetings that took place that directly impact your retirement. The first is the Special COLA Commission. It has had its inaugural meeting this afternoon. The commission unanimously approved and nominated Bill Keefe as the chairman of the Special Commission on the COLA. Bill Keefe is the executive director of the Public Employee Retirement Administration Commission, PERAC. PERAC, of course, is the state oversight agency and regulatory body that oversees all of the public retirement systems here in Massachusetts. They are very highly respected, not just here in Massachusetts, but nationally for the work they do. They have a full staff of actuaries and policy experts who are perfectly suited to lead the discussion and the research and everything that has to go into the work that this special commission is going to partake in. Now, in addition to Bill Keefe, our association's president, Frank Valeri, represents all of you on the commission. Mass Retirees is the only public retiree or public employee entity with a seat at the table, and Frank is your designee. In addition to Frank, we have a representative of the governor's office from A&F, State Senator Mike Brady and State Representative Ken Gordon. The chairs of the Joint Committee on Public Service are the legislative representatives on the commission. The commission also includes both Kathy Kugis, the executive director of the State Retirement Board, and Erica Glaster, the executive director of the Teachers Retirement System, are serving on the commission. And rounding things out is Doug Howgate from the Mass Taxpayers Foundation. Doug is someone who's well known to us. He used to work on Beacon Hill in the State House. He is now the president and chief executive officer of Mass Taxpayers. So those are the individuals who will be working on the commission. The commission will now spend the next several months. It will reconvene in early January after the holidays. But the goal here is to come up with ways to improve the COLA benefit. And as equally important, coming up with new ways to pay for and structure the funding schedules that our retirement systems have to operate under to better accommodate improved COLA benefits. One of the major hurdles to overcome when it comes to the COLA is how to pay for these things. You know, we always hear from the legislature, and I know the local systems hear from local officials. You know, we want to help retirees. We know we need to improve the COLA, but how are we going to pay for it? And as we get closer and closer to full funding, it becomes more difficult to pay for it within the current confines of the existing pension funding schedules. So that's where we need to get creative. That's where PERAC is absolutely essential. In getting all of the key policymakers and pension experts and so forth in the same room, or the virtual room as the case may be, to talk these things through, to know the same set of facts, and to figure this out. And we will figure it out. Now, the reporting date most likely is going to be pushed back. Originally, it was supposed to be February 1st. Obviously, we're not going to make that, and I wouldn't even propose that we try. As they say, haste makes waste. We need to take the opportunity that we have right now to get this right, to come up with a solid proposal that will not only increase the state and teacher COLA base and find a better funding mechanism at the state level, but also come up with some policies that can be easily adopted at the local level as well. And then in addition, the commission will also be looking at the creation of a new senior or enhanced COLA benefit for long-term retirees. So those of you who have been retired for 15, 20, 25 years, and you found yourselves falling further and further behind in terms of the cost of living, this is a way to help make up that deficit, so to speak. So that's what we're working on. We will be reporting on new developments with the COLA Commission once it's up and underway. But we're excited by these first steps, and we're very excited that Billy Keefe has agreed to head up the commission as the chair. He and his staff at PERAC are excellent, and we very much look forward to working with them. Now, the other big meeting that took place on Thursday was the Group Insurance Commission's monthly meeting. The December meeting of the GIC is one of the most important meetings that they have throughout the year. All of their meetings are important, but what makes December's meeting even extra important is the fact that it's the meeting where they start to lay out the potential cost increases, plan design changes, and basically just the overall outlook for the coming fiscal year in terms of your health insurance costs. And even those of you who are insured through municipal plans, you're indirectly related to all of this, because as we continue to say, decisions made and policies implemented by the GIC can very quickly, and often do very quickly, become local policy. So even if you're insured for the city of Boston or from the town of Plymouth or wherever, what happens at the GIC affects you. whether it's today, tomorrow, next year, is going to affect you at some point. That's why this is so important. Now, a few major developments came out of today's GIC meeting. First of all, the GIC has chosen a new dental and vision carrier starting July 1st of 2025. So for the next fiscal year. That procurement process started in September. The GIC staff made their recommendations today, and they will be changing from the current MetLife and Davis Vision plans to Altus plans for both dental and vision going forward starting on July 1st. Now, part of the decision-making process, we believe, from the GIC is the fact that a growing number of members have expressed concerns and complaints to us that we passed on to the GIC prior to procurement beginning in September. We constantly keep the GIC up to date of what we're hearing from our members, just like we keep Blue Cross or WellPoint or Harvard Pilgrim or whoever in the loop of what we're hearing from all of you. It's important that they hear the opinions of our members, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, or somewhere in between. And when it comes to the dental plan, a growing number of members were expressing concern about the limited network options under the MetLife plan that appeared to be getting worse. And on the Davis Vision side, we were continuing to hear complaints about just the benefits themselves, and that many retirees really didn't see any value in that plan. So the GIC, for the procurement process and the scoring that takes place, I believe they received 3 bids on the dental side and 2 bids on the vision side, and they chose to sort of merge the benefits under one company, and that is Altus. Now, Altus was the original dental insurance vendor back in 2002 when we worked with the GIC to create the original retiree dental plan at that time. Prior to 2002, retirees, believe it or not, had no dental coverage whatsoever. So that plan is now going on its 23rd year, if my math is correct, and we have come a very long way. Now, the dental insurance, for anyone, quite honestly, is not really insurance. It's more of a limited benefit plan or a discount program, but there is no dental insurance that works in the same fashion as health insurance. It's just not the way that the system is set up to work, at least at this time. So we're pleased. I think all of you will be pleased with the switch over to Altus. Coming with that switch is a little bit of savings in terms of your monthly premiums. We'll be reporting the full details of that as we go forward and as that information becomes available. Now, on the downside of things, and we knew this was coming, we've been talking about this for quite a while, is the fact that healthcare prices continue to significantly increase. As we have said over and over again, we're very concerned about this. We're very concerned about the ability of our members to afford to access their healthcare, whether it's paying your monthly premium, paying the copayment, paying the deductible. Just being able to get a prescription filled is becoming increasingly difficult for a growing number of people here in Massachusetts, including many of our members. So this is a top of mind concern, not only for us, but for the GIC and the healthcare providers as well. So the news from the GIC was not shocking. And in fact, it ended up being a little bit more positive than we had anticipated. And I think it may be a case of, expect the worst, but hope for the best. And the good news is that the GIC's initial rate projections, and these numbers are not final. This is just the start of a multi-month process that will be finalized in February. However, the initial aggregate increase across all of the GIC's plans is projected to be 10.5% going into FY26. And a 10.5% increase is a lot. Now, that's less than what we're seeing in the private sector here in Massachusetts. It's less than what the federal employees plan just recently announced. I think they came in at 11.2%. That's their national average across all of their plans across the country. And they have a lot of plans because federal employees work in all 50 states. But the fact is that there's no avoiding that our prices are going up. And the cost drivers are just general inflation, hospital cost, prescription drugs, some of the brand new drugs to fight diabetes and weight loss, Alzheimer's. The list goes on. And again, none of this is a surprise. As we've been reporting, and the Healthcare Policy Commission reported back in November with their cost analysis report, all indications are these costs are going up. So none of this was a surprise. The question is, and the difficulty is, what are we going to do about it? And that's the next step. So the GIC will be meeting again in the middle of January. They will start to talk about what's coming next. What can they do to try to gain control over these cost increases without passing it on to you? Because what we do not want to see is a repeat of what we saw a decade or so ago, where policymakers simply said, make the enrollees pay more, make them have skin in the game. That doesn't work. We know for a fact that doesn't work. All that does is force people to avoid or delay getting care, which ultimately leads to higher healthcare costs in the long run. We need better solutions. We need to work together, as we've been saying, to figure it out. Just like we're figuring out the COLA, just like we've been working to figure out the weapon, the GPO, we need to figure out this problem as well, because pointing fingers and kicking the can down the road and just making you pay more, that doesn't solve anything. So we're going to continue to work on this. We're going to continue to report to you, but we're going to figure it out. We have people in place working to do the right thing. And the important thing is we're talking to each other. We have a seat at the table, and we're going to do our best to represent you. Now, let me end this on a couple of high points. We also have a changing of the guard coming for the Mass Teachers Retirement System. If you read our January newsletter, you know that long-term Mass Teachers Retirement System Executive Director Erica Glaster is retiring at the end of this year. Now, Erica will continue to serve as the MTRS's representative on the COLA Commission, which we are very pleased with that. Erica is a key component of the COLA Commission. Her and her staff at the Retirement Board have for several years now been very focused on how we can improve these benefits. They have a lot of great ideas, so we're very pleased that the board has chosen to keep Erica at the table representing them on the COLA Commission. But Erica is retiring after 38 years with the Teachers Retirement System. I believe she spent the last decade as executive director. She's someone that we work very closely with. We have a great relationship with. Erica's also a wonderful person, so we're very sad to see her go. But we're excited with what's coming next. John Osimo, who is Assistant Deputy Director, Assistant Deputy Director. I'm apologizing, John, if I messed that up. It's been a very long day. John has been promoted to Executive Director by the board after a search, so we're thrilled with that. In addition to Erica retiring, my friend Sean Nealon, Sean and I first met over 30 years ago when we were both staffers in the State House. Sean was a staffer for the Joint Committee on Public Service, which of course is a legislative committee that handles all public retirement issues. And he's now been a key staff person and assistant director at the Teachers Retirement Board for nearly 30 years. Sean has nearly 4 decades of public service. He's choosing to retire. Very sorry to see Sean go. We have worked very closely in the case of Sean and I, for 3 decades now, more than 3 decades. We've been friends and working together, and we're very hopeful that Sean will find a way to stay involved in these issues because, like Erica, Sean cares deeply about public policy, particularly public retirement policy. He's been active not only here in Massachusetts, but across the country for public retiree causes and issues. And we're hopeful that Sean finds a way and wants to remain involved in public policy in terms of retirement. But I want to wish both of you well on behalf of everyone here at Mass Retirees. You've earned your retirement. We're glad to have you on board as members of our association now, proudly. And we wish you all the best in your retirement going forward. Now, one final point. This is our last weekly update for 2024. We're going to take a couple of week hiatus for the holidays. However, We will continue to update you on whatever's happening in Washington with HR 82 and weapon GPO. We're going to see this thing through to the end. Even if we're talking about it on Christmas Day, we're going to get there. I promise you that. But in terms of our weekly updates, this will be the last of the year. I'm actually going to take a couple of weeks off once the dust settles from weapon GPO. But I just want to thank you, first of all, for being members of our association. If you're watching this video and you're not a member, please join with us. We are able to achieve everything that we can achieve on behalf of public retirees because we have a robust and engaged membership. It's not a secret. It is strength in numbers. So with that, I want to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays to you and your family. I wish you a healthy and peaceful and prosperous New Year. We are very much looking forward to 2025 and all the good that we're hoping to accomplish in the coming year. In the meantime, be well, and we will be back to you very soon, hopefully with some good news on the passage of HR 82. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.